Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three,
wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've got a few headlines. One of them touches on the data drop we saw from Japan last night, looking a little bit ugly there. Not a heavy headline that we'll be diving too far into. It is a very short news article. I also have a news article about Musk and the next branch of the government that he wants to dive into and audit. And then I also have another news article talking about Microsoft, the title of the show. So let's get you prepped for some success today. We've got that stock heat map pulled up. We've got Apple sitting up 0.39 and in the pre-market sitting down 0.12. Nvidia sitting up a 0.63 and in the pre-market sitting down 0.06, so sitting quite neutral this morning. We've got Berkshire Hathaway sitting in that neutral range as well, down 0.41 from its close, and in the pre-market down 0.17. We've got Amazon sitting down a 1.65 in the pre-market, looking to take back some of those gains, up 0.23 right now. We've got Eli Lilly up 0.7 and in the pre-market continuing on those gains, up 0.38. We've got ExxonMobil doing quite well, up 0.54, and in the pre-market seeing some light sell-off, still in that neutral range though, down 0.35. We've got Tesla sitting down a 1.71 and in the pre-market sitting down 0.4. P&G taking back some of those losses from the other day, up 0.43 on its close, in the pre-market sitting quite neutral, down 0.02. We've got Microsoft up 0.33 and in the pre-market up 0.30. We've got Google sitting down 0.26 in the pre-market up 0.2. And Meta sitting down 1.27, continuing on its retracement from a 20-day run. In the pre-market, looking up just a bit, up 0.53. We've got the crypto side of things looking quite neutral for Bitcoin, up 0.31 on that daily. Ethereum up 1.92. Got XRP sitting down 1.46. We've got BNB up 0.77. Solana up 0.52, Dogecoin up 0.07. We've got Cardano sitting down at 0.75, Tron sitting up a 0.91. We've got Chainlink up 1.75. We've got Sweet up 1.14, Avalanche up 1.52, Stellar Lumens also in that losing category, down 1.62, and Litecoin taking back some of those losses, up 3.17. Let's hop over to that economic calendar because we do have a little bit of some heavy data coming out today. We will have that global PMI flash coming out at 9:45, as well as a global manufacturing PMI flash and services PMI flash. Looking to come up on those services as well as the manufacturing. We'll kind of have to keep our eyes on that. It's not a big move up, it's just a slight move up. Could keep things moving sideways. We also have some existing home sales looking to come down on those. Was 4.24 million prior and is looking to be 4.12 million this time. We do have inflation expectations final coming out of Michigan, looking to be up just a little bit from 3.2 to 3.3. Not a heavy market mover, but something to keep your eye on. We do also have that Michigan Consumer Sentiment Final, and that will be another heavy market mover. We'll be watching that one quite heavily, looking to come down quite a bit, and this did move markets last time. We do have a few Fed chairs speaking today as well. Fed Daily, Fed Jefferson, speaking at 11:30 Eastern Time. So that's most of today's data. It is kind of a light data day for the rest of the world, but the US does have some heavy data drops coming out today. We do have that fear and greed looking a little bit to the upside for crypto, sitting still in that neutral range on the stocks though. No change as we saw for that big 7 in the stock market. No real big change in either direction. We also have that crypto side up 6 points and back in some light green, sitting at 55. We do have a lot of liquidity residing to the top side of us here on this 24-hour chart, ranging from 99,000 all the way up to 99,300. We have taken out half of that liquidity before we moved back down and started moving sideways here. You do have a light hot spot residing to the bottom side of us at about 96,600. Zoom this on out to that today. I was taking a look at that. You can kind of see that there is a hot spot that is starting to appear to the bottom side of us. You start zooming this out a little bit further, and that's where you can see a lot of liquidity starting to appear on these higher term time frames. Kind of bodes well for a push down. We will kind of have to see if we get that last grab of liquidity before we continue this move to the upside. We are coming up to a resistance area, which we will take a look at on that Bitcoin chart. We do have 93,000, almost 200 being that bottom side for the start, and it runs all the way down to about 93,000. Zoom this on out just a little bit further, take a look at that 1 week, and you can kind of see that most of that liquidity is to the top side, and you've got that light hot spot to the bottom. That liquidity runs all the way up to 99,500. You do have that hot spot sitting to the bottom side of us at that 93,000 range. Zoom that on out to the 2 week, and that's where you can see that hot spot is sitting very, very light, and most of that is in the current area that we are. We did, I believe it was that 1 month sitting with the light liquidity to the bottom side of us, and most of that back up to the top side. So looking to see if we clear out some of that on those middle range time frames before we continue to go up and grab a lot of this liquidity. Let's say good morning to the chat as we hop over to that Bitcoin chart. I see all set in here. We've got Al Jr. Good morning, good morning. We got Crypto Billy in the chat. Good morning. If y'all didn't check out that morning motivational video, should definitely give that a listen to after the show. Might have to wait until after Piper goes live at 10, because we all go over to Alex O Crypto after this. We've got Aiko in the chat. Good morning, good morning. We've got Alexandra G, the mod queen. Good morning to you. We've got, let's see, Mike Volmer in the chat as well. Good morning to you all. Hope you're having a great Friday so far. Let's hop in. Oh, there's Jeffrey Stone Cipher. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day. Let's hop into this Bitcoin chart. We do have the 4 hour pulled up here. Looking like we might start seeing some resistance as we come up to this area that has been a strong resistance area or a strong support area from before. This was pulled from a daily. This is at 99,300 range, and that's kind of where there's a bunch of liquidity residing as well. You have a bit to the top side of that, so seeing us wick above that on this 4 hour could be a move to see. We also see that we've turned this local range 382 into some support here. Got a nice strong bounce off of it and are moving up towards the top side on our more macro 236, sitting at that 99,300, almost 400 there. If you zoom this on in to the hourly, you can kind of see that we are seeing a last little bit of a push to the upside. Your prime oscillator here is sitting light red as we are getting that last little move towards that 236 here on both of these time frames. This is the money flow staying quite steady here as we're getting that nice pushback to the upside. Volume is coming down now and is looking to be some selling pressure as we are approaching these resistance areas. And that liquidity that's residing between these the macro 236 and the micro 236 here on a retracement. Definitely a bit of liquidity residing in this area. We'll kind of have to see if we turn this area into some resistance, or we go through and grab all of the liquidity and turn this more smaller ranged time frame into some resistance. This is pulled from that low that we got all the way down here at 91,400 and goes all the way up to that push up to that 102,000 afterwards. So that's more of that 236 that I'd probably look at, especially since most of that liquidity is residing up at that top side 236, and this is more of a macro 236 that we might try to turn into some support if we can get to the top side of it. I do see French Toaster in the chat. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day so far. It is Friday and the last day of the week, and looking to have some fun today. I've got a few things on the agenda for me, and I hope all of you have a nice relaxing day. Don't have a whole lot you got to do at work. We've got this 15-minute looking like it's making a continued push up, just like that 1 hour is. We did get a little bit of room from our indicator line here on our MACD. Had a little bit of a pullback towards it before we got that last little bit of liquidity to come back in, and our volume started picking up as some buying pressure. So definitely looking for that top side resistance area and a continued liquidity grab for the morning. You do see that prime oscillator being red though, so you might start running out of some steam as we approach this top side liquidity. You do have that bottom side liquidity residing under this shorter term time frame that I wanted to see us turn into some support, and that's going to be that 97,800. We do have a bit of a range down to that 96,900, which we could also see a bounce at if we start faltering up in this area. Also have that bit of a 382 that we could make a continuation on this shorter term time frame, but I would kind of look more towards those lower levels, especially since there is some liquidity residing there, and some of that data for the morning is looking a bit ugly. I see Paul Caruso in the chat as well. Let's zoom that on out to the daily real quick. Take a look at that. As you can see, that daily's got plenty of room to run here if this shorter term time liquidity can roll over into this higher term time frame. That money flow just went to the green here and is looking to increase. You did just have that daily cross of our MACD on our indicator line as we printed our first light green candles here on our oscillator. So looking for some continued money flow on our higher term time frames to kind of get back above these key levels to turn that into some support on our shorter term time frame to continue that push back up, where we've got that liquidity residing on our shorter term time frames at 104,000. That's going to be this top side liquidity here for that mid time frame. I believe that was the 2 week. this 102,800 is going to be that first real area where we will start to do some battle. That's where a lot of liquidity is residing, and it also is the top side of this micro fib retracement of our current range sideways here. So that's going to be that first little area we're going to need to get to after we can turn this into some support. Plenty of room to run here on the daily. We will need to cool down on some of these shorter term time frames before we get up to this area though. All right, let's hop over to some of these news articles. They are quite short, so I can blast through some of them quite quickly. Before we get to that Microsoft one, go ahead and drop a few alt requests in the chat so I can take a look at those after. I didn't have a whole lot I was wanting to look at on the TradFi side of things. I did want to take a look at the Dixie and gold. They have been moving quite nicely. We got that gold move right to where I was talking about the other day. We have Japan's inflation rate hits 2-year highs. The annual inflation rate in Japan climbed to 4% in January 2025 from 3.6% in the prior month, marking the highest reading since January 2023. The core inflation rate rose to a 19th month high of 3.2%, up from 3% in December and topping consensus of 3.1%. The monthly CPI increased by 0.5% after December's 14th month top of 0.6% rise. And this kind of counters a lot of what has been coming out of Japan. We had a bit of a consensus from Udea that they might be holding rates steady for longer. And this kind of dashes all hopes of that. We'll kind of have to see if we can get some more information from them in the coming weeks. But I do believe we will see those chances for an interest rate hike from Japan increase just a bit, especially after this inflation data. We do have Musk saying he's thinking of auditing the Fed. Billionaire Elon Musk said on Thursday he is thinking of auditing the Federal Reserve after calling for greater scrutiny of the central bank in the past. Musk made the comment at the Conservative Political Action Conference in National Harbor, Maryland. Musk's cost-cutting program under the Department of Government Efficiency has swept through the federal agencies since Donald Trump began his second term as president last month. This is something I'm quite excited for, especially since a Federal Reserve is a bit unconstitutional and was never supposed to exist in the first place. If you hear what the Founding Fathers said, they never wanted a central bank. And they definitely intended for states to be in charge of their own money. Yeah, it's a little bit messy if each state has their own currency, but it also gives you a little bit more freedom, and it allows for more exchange rates and keeps the federal government from having such extreme overreach as we have started to see in our current state of the U.S. So maybe this is the first step in kind of distancing ourselves from a Federal Reserve to audit them, because they do a lot of sketchy stuff. I don't think that we should have a single entity that is in charge of U.S. money, especially when they're not actually part of the government at all. It's kind of ironic that they're named the Federal Reserve when they're not part of the federal government at all. All right. Just I'm gonna dive through that one quick because I could go on and on about that one, and this one was a lot more important to me, especially since you might start seeing some more moves on the tech side, and some of your AI cryptos might pump off of this news, especially going forward at the end of February. We have Microsoft is boosting capacity to support OpenAI's ChatGPT 4-5 and ChatGPT 5 models. Engineers at Microsoft are boosting infrastructure capacity in preparation for the latest iteration of OpenAI's large language models. The first could be implemented by the end of February. Sources close to Microsoft informed Tom Warren of The Verge that software giant is planning to host OpenAI's newest GPT 4.5 as early as next week. OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman recently disclosed that the company's plans to next ship GPT 4.5 but didn't provide an exact date. Although ChatGPT 4.5 is described as a mid-generation update, OpenAI has reportedly been training the model with synthetic data, which according to IBM can overcome data scarcity when training and fine-tuning AI models. OpenAI's use of synthetic data to train ChatGPT 4.5 was initially reported by The Information. In addition to expediting 4.5 any day now, The Verge's source said Microsoft expects to receive the more powerful GPT-5 in late May. Altman described ChatGPT 5 as the system that integrates a lot of our technology, including O3, which refers to OpenAI's latest reasoning model. On January 31st, the company released a smaller O3 model called O3 Mini. Microsoft currently hosts OpenAI's model on its Azure platform. However, Microsoft clarified that the services does not interact with any tools operated by OpenAI, including ChatGPT. Microsoft and OpenAI expanded their partnership last month through U.S. President Donald Trump's $500 billion AI venture, Stargate. And this is something that will continue to boost the tech side. You might see NVIDIA also getting a boost off of this news as well, especially since Microsoft will be using a lot of those chips for some of the processing of these new language models. And we'll just kind of have to keep our eyes on when that ChatGPT 5 is actually going to come out. As this news article says, ChatGPT 4.5 could be coming as early as next week. So you might see a little bit of a boost on that AI sector coming for next week, and that tech sector as well. I will be watching that quite closely. I hold a bit of Tau, and I will be quite happy if that gets a move to the upside. We've got Baba Yaz in the chat. Good morning, good morning. And I see maybe a Band-Aid in the chat as well. Hope you guys are having a great Friday so far. I see Jesse Gulak saying, did everyone hit that like button? No, exit chat, smash and re-enter chat. I guess you're on a phone there on that one. That I can smash the like button as I'm watching on my PC. All right, let's hop over to gold. I didn't see any alt requests in the chat just yet, but go ahead and drop some of those in the chat for me so I can take a look at things. We might see a bit of some volatility in the markets this morning, so there might be some moves you can take advantage of in some of those altcoins if you don't want to trade on that Bitcoin. All right, let's take a look at gold. We did get that nice little bounce off of our 50% line here on our Fibonacci extension. That was at $2,917 I talked about yesterday, and we've gotten back up to that golden pocket. You do have a bit of a resistance area residing right to the top side of us at 2,938. You might see a bit of resistance there. Your prime oscillator is red, your money flow is red, your volume is red, but you might get that push back to the upside here on this hourly before we really see that money flow coming out all over again. Prime oscillator getting that nice move to the upside, looking to cross our indicator line here on our MACD as money flow is kind of coming out here. So might be a quick cross before we get some sideways movement and a drop back down, especially as we approach this resistance area above us. Might try to turn that golden pocket into some support after a rejection before we try to get back up towards our platinum pocket here. If we are unable to maintain this golden pocket, you do have some areas below us that I might look for gold. You do have that 50% line on our Fibonacci coming back to play if we lose this $2,930. That's going to be all the way down here at 2,917, and if we are unable to maintain this area, you might look a little bit lower at that original level that I was kind of talking about here, and that's going to be that $2,904. We are making lower highs and lower lows, so looking for a continuation of that trend before you really get that strong money flow coming back in. 4 hour also looking like it is topping out here, but you are getting a bit of some curvature here on our MACD. Money flow just switching over to that red though, so might see that continuation to the downside after we top out at these levels here. Also have that 15-minute looking quite nice on some continuation here on our short-term time frame. Money flow is just starting to come back in. You do have that prime oscillator, which just switched from heavy red back to green here, but your volume is rolling over. You gotta really zoom that on in to see it. Your volume is starting to roll over here and looking light green from some heavy green. So to see some selling pressure come back in as we approach these levels would not be unexpected, especially after that quick switch from red back to green. Seeing some reversal signals start flashing right after that would probably be the move to see, especially with how sideways this MACD is running here after we cross the 0 line, and our indicator line is starting to run a little sideways too. Might hit that cross real quick before we really drop back down below our 0 line and continue this downside movement. It is all lower highs and lower lows, so looking to really continue that trend. You do have the Dixie approaching a area of resistance here as well, sitting very red on our prime oscillator as volume is picking up as some selling pressure, looking to potentially reject off of this 106.72 and continue our move to the downside. That first area I'd look at would be 105.45. Will really depend on some of the data that we're going to be seeing. That is those PMI flashes coming out at 9:45. Piper will break those down on his show. It will be going live while he is live though, so definitely something to keep your eye on for the morning. You do have your MACD, which is approaching our indicator line here on the bottom side, but if you have that more zoomed out look, it is a very sideways approach. So to see us come up to that indicator line and probably reject off of it would be that move to see. And you might see that brief break above it before we really drop back below it, especially with how the volume is looking as more selling pressure. Prime oscillator just sitting light red after seeing this reversal signal flash down here at our bottoms. So still looking like it's going to be a downtrend. Talk shiz about memes, says Lunar Beaches. That will have to be another day. I have a big article that I didn't want to dive into today since I had a bit of a late start, was feeling a little bit under the weather this morning. But I have a giant article for Monday that will probably be talking about some memes, especially since it touches on some of those ETFs that we might be seeing coming this year. So we'll definitely be diving into some of that meme talk on Monday. Make sure to tune in for that one. It's going to be a a lot of fun. I will have a lot of crap to talk. So I did talk about Microsoft as well. So let's hop over to that Microsoft chart. You have been seeing us hold this golden pocket quite nicely here for quite a while, unable to maintain our platinum pocket on our extension though, and this is where we've been ranging quite sideways here on TradFi as well as crypto. So quite a range for Microsoft coming in from August of last year, looking to potentially break back up towards our platinum pocket. We do have a giant CME gap that would need to be filled first though. Let's get that drawn out for you so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It is a massive CME gap which we rejected off of as we got back up to it. Let's make that blue because that's what I like to color my CME gaps as. As you can see here, we rejected quite nicely off of the bottom side of our CME gap and are kind of rolling over just a bit. We do have a bit of a range below us where we could start seeing some bounces before we get that push back up, especially off of the AI news that came out here this week. Let's get a horizontal ray drawn out for that first little bouncing area we might see. That's going to be this area here where we started to see some highs before we created a CME gap and kind of created a fair value gap all the way up on the daily there. Money flow is rolling over. Prime oscillator has some overbought signals, a reversal signal flashed, and is looking quite red on the oscillator. Volume is holding steady as buying pressure though. So looking to potentially continue this trend if we can get a strong bounce off of that $410 and move back up towards our CME gap. This is a strong resistance area for now, and that's going to be that first area we want to look at. You are so quiet. Let me get that mic readjusted. I know sometimes it likes to redo things if it the PC resets. I don't know if that helped any, but I might have to get back into my settings on my PC and kind of fix that. I don't know what's going on. There's actually two microphone sources for my PC and Streamlabs, so I might have to get that fixed here. I noticed that the other day. We have Baba Yaz saying, SWE, would you pick SWE over Sol, BC, or equal crap talk? I'd most definitely pick SWE over Sol. Their barrier to entry is a little bit higher, especially with them doing quite heavily on their layer 1. They move quite quickly. I can hear now. I'm old, says LBC. All right. Well, Jesse saying I could hear clear the whole time. Well, who knows? Because it is reading quite low on my mic pickup. So definitely seeing a little bit of some issues with the mic, and I can get that all fixed over the weekend. I did see another alt request from Billy. Let me scroll back and find that. Where was it? It's something I'd never seen before. Let's see. I know it was here somewhere. Metis. There it is. METIS. All right. Never seen that one before. But SWE, I think, has a big chance of being that Ethereum killer if we can really see Ethereum's, if we can really start seeing SWE do some smart contract work, if we can get some projects built on top of SWE that will bring in more liquidity. If you can get a stable coin built on SWE, that will be another big thing to see. So got a few things they need to handle in the bear market before they can really start competing with Ethereum. I do think SWE can overtake Sol this next cycle, but that's just my thoughts on SWE, I would be quite happy to see Sol die, especially since that barrier to entry to build on Solana is quite low. So definitely a few things I would like to see in this next cycle. A lot of these legitimate projects have some work to do. And that's what I will be keeping my eyes on. And I will definitely be dropping a lot of news in this bear market about a lot of the building that gets done, because most of the building that gets done for crypto is done in those bear markets when everything's just kind of dull, and gives you some ideas of what to kind of look at for the next cycle. So let's take a look at unmute because I put Metis. Yep, there we go. Sorry about that. All right. Let's I pulled this Fibonacci retracement from the lows before that push on up, and we saw this platinum pocket be some resistance there. Sorry about that. Anytime I hit that M, it kind of mutes things. So I got to remember that one. I saw y'all saying something before we really before I really got too deep into that Metis. We got that golden pocket being that strong resistance area, got back below that platinum pocket here, and we've got our money flow starting to come back in. We do have that higher low here on our money flow, as we are sitting at very green on this daily, looking to continue on up. Your volume is kind of rolling back to the upside. We will have to see if that makes a lower high here in the red, and kind of get that slowdown on the selling volume and kind of switch back to the green here. Definitely waiting for some of these shorter term time frames to roll over into the higher term time frame. Let's zoom this on in to our hourly. It's getting a nice little push towards the upside, coming up to a bit of a resistance area. Let's zoom that MACD in and our prime oscillator in just a little bit. You've got that 1 hour looking like it's rolling over just a bit as we are approaching our resistance area. Let's get that drawn out. That's going to be $28.24. Let's get that a little bit thinner since this is pulled from the 1 hour here. That'd be that first little area I would look at approaching before we try to cool these oscillators off. You have a big divergence stacked up here on our hourly. You are sitting quite red on the prime oscillator as your money flow is kind of rolling over here. Got that nice strong push to the upside. Might be seeing this start turn into some resistance here. This is a bit of a fair value gap as well, and that's about the midline. So that's where I'd kind of look for that first area of resistance. Let's get that 4-hour drawn out and see where that fair value gap really resides. Might have to zoom that back out to a daily to see that fair value gap there. Yep, that's where that fair value gap is going to come to call. That's where, let's get that drawn out there. Going from that candle all the way to down here where we saw that first green, sitting a little bit above that current range. We do have another little resistance area sitting about $30.50 there. That's going to be that midline of our fair value gap. Let's make that purple for fair value gap. All right, let's lock that. Make sure it doesn't move. We are approaching the bottom side of it, and there's a bit of some resistance at this area. That's where you might see a bit of some faltering here at your shorter term time frame. 15-minute has a little bit more room to run to the upside. Volumes, money flows starting to pick back up here. Your prime oscillator is sitting light red. There's a divergence stacked up here. So as we get back above this kind of approach, probably the midline of our fair value gap, we might come back down to our first little resistance area. Try to turn it into some support. Money flow is thick, says All Set, and that's where our buying volume is quite thick as well. Money flow kind of coming back in here as we started approaching this resistance area. It slowed down quite heavily as we were able to maintain the bottom side of this fair value gap as some support here. You've started to see it come back in, waiting for that push back up, but this prime oscillator, looking as red as it is, might start seeing some resistance as we approach these higher levels. Might need to zoom this on out just a bit and get a current range fib from the lows to the high to see where we might see a little bit of some bouncing as well. That's where yep, that's kind of in line with our 50% Fibonacci as well. That'd be that first little area I'd want to see us turn into some support. And that 50% line on our fair value gap is right around that golden pocket for this range as well. So a few little areas where we might need to turn, you might see resistance and try to turn into some support. Really depends on how this money flow continues going. All right, Metis looking quite nice though for the shorter term time frame, and might start seeing that resistance on a higher term time frame. Yeah, All Set. Metis has a history of moving fast though. She's sensitive. Yeah, it looks like the volume is quite heavily in the green here, and that's just where you're gonna start seeing a bit of resistance coming in at some key levels to try to see if you can hold that up there, cool off the oscillator just a little bit. It is quite an explosive move to the upside there. That is from the lows to our current range, a 28% move to the upside with no leverage. So crazy move there if you caught it, Billy. Nice catch. Let's take a look at SWE. It was talked about, and this is the potential next Ethereum killer. We are looking at our 50% line on our macro fib retracement being a support level here. You do have the oscillator looking like they might need to cool off just a bit. We might try to range sideways on this. That 1 hour is looking like you might be seeing a bit of some roll over here on the prime oscillator. Volume switching over to some selling pressure, and MACD crossing that indicator line on the top side, but it's looking like a more of a heavy move to the bottom. So might be seeing a quick cool off of the oscillators as we maintain this 50% line. Moving averages are looking quite tight here on the bottom side, and you've really got these higher term time frame oscillators getting that curvature back here as well. So looking for a little bit of some cool off on our 50 before we really get that continuation bounce. If we were unable to hold that 50, I would look for some lower levels. You do have a bit of an area down here where you saw a very nice wicking, equal candle bodies, and equal candle bodies going forward. Let's get that 3 out drawn out on a 3, so you can see that's going to be $3.33, where you might see a bit of some bouncing if you're unable to maintain this 50% line. That 4 hour looks like it's still got a bit of some room to run on our MACD. Volumes just starting to pick up as some buying volume on the 4 hour, but you are seeing a reversal signal and a rollover of our prime oscillator. So looking to kind of see what happens here at this 50% Fibonacci 15-minute. Looking like it's got a bit of some continuation, but the prime oscillator is waffling back and forth from red to green. Your volume is quite muted as neither buying nor selling, so looking for a bit of some sideways moves here and some ranging. Definitely have that MACD looking to cross that indicator line. Might get a bit of a similar move to this breakthrough, and a quick retracement back towards our indicator line and break back down. So looking for a bit of some ranging or a break below that 50% line before we really get that strong bounce and try to reclaim this as some support. Volume is quite muted and money flow is quite muted as well. Love it when I can follow, says All Set. So I'm glad I am able to break it down in a way that you can understand. We've got Kelly L. When Moon. Let's zoom this on out to a higher term time frame. Take a look at that weekly, and this is where you can kind of see a lot of these projects are sitting at an area where they might need to see a bit more cool off before you really get that nice push to the upside. I was looking at the beginning to middle of March for a nice cool off on these higher term time frame oscillators. You are starting to see the curvature here on the weekly. You're starting to see it here on the prime oscillator as well. Volume is extremely muted, but it looks like it's bottoming out as well. So definitely looking for that sideways move, as kind of both TradFi and crypto have been ranging quite nicely. This allows you to really cool your oscillators off on those higher term time frames when you really bounce between ranges, and that allows you to really wait for that money flow to come back in and get that strong push up. That's more of an exaggerated drawn out there. Would look for that more on a daily, where you could kind of see ranging between this golden pocket and our 50% line, which we've done for the past 2 weeks now. Would see that little breaks above, little breaks below, little breaks above allows you to really maintain and cool off those higher term time frames before you really get that strong boost back out of the range. And this would be that first strong area of resistance that we would really need to get above for SWE, and that's going to be $3 and about 90 cents, which you might start seeing some resistance at for SWE on a macro time frame. Let's hop over to that single cam and talk y'all all out, because it's almost 7 o'clock and time for some Alex O crypto. Gotta head into work, says LBC. Hope you have a great Friday, and make some of that fiat so we can make some more crypto. BC is the crypto. Bob Ross says all set. I love that. I love that. Next level charting up there. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Make sure to tune in to the morning market report with Piper. He will break down today's data, which might move some markets just a little bit up and down, because there's a bit of a mixed bag on it. We do have Trade Academy at 4 p.m. Eastern time, where if you need some help or you're experienced and you just want to chat it on out, we had a very amazing chat in there yesterday talking about a lot of these indicators and how they work. We got highly technical, which was quite nice for a nerd like me to see that other people are quite nerdy as well. So if you haven't been tuning in to that Trade Academy at 4 p.m., might go give it a little bit of a watch, and you might learn some things you never thought you'd learn before. Other than that, I will see y'all in Alex O Crypto's chat in just a second. Make sure to wake up, because today's going to be a good day.